Hello, everybody. This is Eddie,
Hey everyone, this is Tom.
and this is the Seasons Podcast. This is the place where we share our stories, our thoughts, and knowledge, and hopefully, we can help you sprout some ideas and you can take something out of this. So, yeah, let's roll. So, I'm Eddie. This is Tom. We're both recent graduates from Holy International Business School in the San Francisco Bay Area. We've met around,
We met in September 2016.
yeah,
It's a little over 3 years right now. It's been a
holy
while.
crap, 3 years. When I met Tom, actually, I was a dorm RA, and I met him. He came into the dorm, right? A dorm RA is basically a receptionist, and I saw him with his mom and his grandma. And my first impression of Tom was like, he's a mama's boy, a mama's little boy. So he was very shy and looked very naive, and yeah, it was just an overall very weird experience. I remember the first time we have contact was when you
When I
was it
checked in?
email? Was it email or
Yes,
Facebook?
I figured out that I'll be roommates with you specifically from an email from Halt.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, there's this guy called Eddie Chow. So I thought like he might have been Chinese, and so not that it doesn't matter, not that him being Chinese matters, but then I thought like, let me just be proactive and just say hi to my future roommate. And so I sent him an email, hey Eddie, it's Tom, looking forward to be your roommate, hope you have a fun time, something like that, something along those lines.
So a little bit of context. It was actually my second year at Holt, and it was Tom's freshman year. So I can say I was a little bit more experienced in that area, and I remember that when it was my freshman year, my roommate I was the one who actually emailed my roommate, and he never replied, and I felt so bad. And when Tom texted me, I kind of did the same. I don't know. I feel bad, a little bit bad about now, but it's just, I don't know. It felt weird at the moment that I was just this email and texting thing. It was just not the right thing. I'm more of a person that introduce myself in person rather than just like online and doing all that email thing. But it was cool. So a little bit of context. Holt, it's an international school. Most of the kids are studying there are international students. I actually come from Ecuador. So as he said, I look very Chinese, but I actually have a very Latino background.
It's very surprising. I was surprised actually.
And Tom is this guy from Indonesia. So we were roommates for a year, and that was a crazy time. That was my sophomore year, and it was one of my craziest college years.
Yeah, it was.
Crazy.
I know because I'm your roommate.
Craziest. But yeah, during that year, I also met our marketing guy, Sven here, which
Hey.
is the guy handling everything behind the scenes, and we would like him to have some words right here.
Hello, guys. I'm pretty happy to be here. Welcome to Seasons. It's been a project that basically came out of nowhere.
Mhm.
Eddie told me about his idea of creating a podcast, and then he told me he got this idea with you, and I was really interested because I'm a really big fan of David Dobrik, and I've seen his podcast about views and also Joe Rogan, and I'm really into that like engagement between different people, ideas, perceptions, and everything. And when he told me about this idea, I was like really crazy about it. So I'm really happy that we're doing this for you guys too, to listen our stories. And
Glad to have you on the team as well.
Thank
man.
you. I'm really happy, and I'm also happy that I know you guys because of school, and we've known each other for 3 years now.
Yes.
So I think we are a really good team. We also know each other. We know our backgrounds more or less. So I think we're gonna do well, and I'm gonna let you guys continue with your own conversation. And
For sure.
thank you for having me.
Woo! Oh yeah.
Oh, my wine. So Eddie back here. Um, it's funny how these 3 years has gone by. So I started college a little bit before Tom, and I spent my full 4 years of college studying. And Tom graduated actually in just 3 years because he had, I believe, some high school credits or something
Yeah,
like that.
I had international baccalaureate credits
Hmm.
from high school, and so I managed to get 1 year off.
So I spent my full 4 years in college studying. I also double major in finance and accounting, and I don't know, I could have graduated like you, like with 3.5 years, a little bit more, but I decided to take like a double major because I felt like I wasn't ready or knowledgeable enough to step into the job market and present myself into the world. So I'm very curious about how you just graduating with 3 years, how you feel about that, graduating in such a short time, and do you feel ready? Do you have anything that you will do differently? What are your opinions on that?
Right. So let me break that down in two questions. How do I feel graduating in 3 years instead of 4 years, and how would I have done it differently? So I broke it down into two questions. So I feel like I feel rather funny because when I came in, Eddie was already in college, but then I'm graduating at the same time as he is, and I thought like that was a little funny at one point. But like being a student that's graduating a year earlier, um, I thought it was good in the first place. Partly because I was influenced by my parents, like, hey, graduating early is good. Um, I do agree with them that it does save them costs. But at the same time, for my mental growth, because like because college is also like everyone's space to grow. You get 1 year less of a space to grow,
Mm-hmm.
and basically by the end of the 3 years, you actually need to have all your things straight, unlike in 4 years. So what happened to me is that in 3 years, I just learned everything and I started to understand like what I want to do, but I did not actually have like a proper like an exact plan, a layout to where I want to work, where I want
Mm-hmm.
like what jobs I like or dislike.
Mm-hmm.
In 4 years, I think you'd actually know better. Um, and in a way, you'd have more time to network, seek mentorship, go out in the city in San Francisco or the Bay Area, in fact, and find and learn more experience from people who you can interview. Because like you can interview people like LinkedIn, you can ask them for career advice or job advice. In my case, I only had 3 years, so I have done some of that, but then like potentially less.
Mm-hmm.
If I had 4 years of university instead of three, I would have been doing that right now because I face much more urgency than you do. If you realize that you just have so much, like basically you just have so much time to think about what you could do.
And that was exactly how I felt on my third year. Like I felt like I wasn't prepared enough. I was still kind of playing around, and even after graduating, I didn't have like a clear direction of where I wanted to go or where I wanted to do. So on my third year, I decided just to take another major just to kind of like prolong my college years, to try to figure out what I really want to do. I'm not saying that just for having to spending another year thinking about it, you'll figure out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very long journey, but
Right.
at least I have a little bit more, a clearer picture of what I want to do in the future, and I think that gave me time to at least work on some more projects, work on some skills that could help me refine my resume and everything. But overall, I think that it doesn't matter if it's like 3 or 4 years of college. It depends on the person. If you feel ready at the end of the third year, then go for it. But for me myself, I think I need a way more preparation. Also because I have like a finance background, so I felt like I needed to take some extra classes to learn this and that. So it's a different journey for everybody. So it really depends.
I do have a question, like speaking about like, cause you said you do have you learned more taking an extra major and learning more from finance classes. Um, so far, do you think that the concepts that you've learned in finance classes have they been useful for work?
In my current job role, I work as a financial analyst. Not really. It's funny. What I work on a daily basis, I actually learned those from online courses, and those were online courses that I took after I graduated because I really wanted to become a financial analyst because a lot of the job description, it kind of like resembles what I wanted to do. However, I lack skills like SQL and some programming skills, and I was like, damn, I need to dig into this, and so I decided to take some online courses, and that's what I basically do now in a daily basis. So I'm not saying school is completely useless, but you always have that need to add that cherry on top of the cake just to
Of
make
course.
yourself more presentable in front of an interviewer, right, or recruiter.
Right. So in a way, for our listeners who are going to be students, do you like, based on your experience, do you think that you should have been much more curious?
More curious. Probably, yeah. I should have put more time into researching about what I want to do and probably have a better understanding of what it implies to step into like the job market and everything. But it's, at least for myself, I feel like it's not something that I was too worried about until I'm a guy that always I get worried like 2 days before the deadline. So I didn't really worry about it until I was about to finish school, which is not the wisest thing to do, but I kind of figured it out. I spent a couple months unemployed, but it's all good. But yeah, so we recently graduated. Our ceremony was back in August. I'm also interested about how do you conclude these 3 years of college for yourself? How did you um, feel in the graduation ceremony? Because it was amazing. It was super cool, and I just wanted to see how you feel about it.
Right. So overall, with the graduation ceremony, it was, I'd say it's a very interesting experience because it is one of the highlights of the life that I currently have, and we only have one life, um, on Earth at least. It's very interesting because like I'm slowly by the time I was putting on my gown, actually going to the graduation building, uh, meeting up my friends, standing in line. I'm starting to realize, okay, you're going to be an adult. You're gonna have to. Your main focus won't be in jobs. I mean, won't be in studying anymore. It'll be on jobs. You still study. You still learn from like a variety of learning experiences from everywhere. But like right now, it's like it's getting real. You have to have a job, and it's like we're kind of put in a world where we're expected to work because that's the only way that we earn our money. But then like that's the way the world works for now, and it's it's like even while you're doing that, I mean, it's fun too. I got to meet amazing people through my workplace as well, and learn things that I never learned in school because a lot of work because learning at work and learning at school is extremely, there's a very big contrast.
Hmm.
That's one of the things that I felt about graduation. It's just pretty unreal that I'm actually getting out after 3 years. 3 years just flashed by so quickly.
What about your parents, like your mom and your grandma? How did they feel about it?
So my mom and my grandma, um, they're very happy. They're very proud because it's one of their proudest moments of their lives. Because by the time I was in high school, they had to chase me around to study a lot because I mean back then, uh, I was always chased to have good grades. But then in college, they just let me go, and I'm pretty good on my own. Like
Mm.
they are, they did not have to chase me anywhere, and I'm already working in the right direction that both they and I want, because as an adult.
Hmm. For me, the graduation was very crazy. I don't know. The reason why was because I got to be the graduation speaker.
Yeah,
That was super awesome. So in our school,
congratulations.
in our school, the system is a little bit different. So it's not the valedictorian, the one who has the highest grade, who gives the speech. It basically works with a voting system where you ask your friends to vote for you, to be nominate you and vote for you, and you become the graduation speaker. So the second I knew about it, I was like, hey, I wanna do it. I don't know. I've never put myself in such a big spotlight, and I thought that was going to be something that will put me out of the comfort zone and will be like a great learning experience, right?
Mhm. What made you come to the mindset? What made you come to the decision that you wanted to be the graduation speaker?
So the reason why I wanted to be a graduation speaker is because when I graduated high school, I never, Asian parents, they have like super high standards about what you need to become, what you need to do in front of like other Asian parents. And so when I graduated high school, I was in the highest grade. I didn't do anything that was like remarkable, like I don't know, some charity stuff or whatever, and I wasn't mentioned on the graduation ceremony, other than just being like the graduating alum, like a student, Eddie Chow, and that was it. So my dad was cool with it, but my mom was actually a little bit like disappointed about it. So I felt super super bad. So after that, I set myself a goal that I wanted to do something in high school. I'm gonna graduate with good grades, and if I knew that being the valedictorian was super difficult, but I'll try to do that.
Right.
So I set myself a goal like I'm gonna graduate with honors, and I'm gonna try to be the speaker. And when I obviously after I graduated, I noticed that I didn't have the highest grade. It was super challenging in college, and it wasn't as easy as I thought. But I got this chance to become the speaker using the system, and I was sorry,
You're all
and I
good.
was going to take advantage of this opportunity. And I asked my friends, I asked my Latinos friends, I asked my Asian friends. I was like, "Hey, vote for me. I promise you, I give the best speech I'll ever give." And they were all very supportive, which I'm super super happy. And when you feel that love and that support, you just
It
so
feels so good.
exactly. And I was so energized about it. And actually, the day when they announced the graduation speaker was a Monday, and I had the deadline to reply to that email that I wanted to become the graduation speaker on a Thursday. And I so that email was sent to my school email, but and by that time I was never entering my school email because I already graduated, right? So never used that email. And then on Wednesday I was casually checking my school email to see if I got something, and they're like, the deadline is tomorrow. I was like, I need to get this done like right now. And I sent that email like to a registrar, to other faculties, well, not faculties, like other staff at Holt. And they were like, help me out, like, hey, yeah, you need to contact this person, and then that. And then I was like, I make sure that person received the email. It's like, yes, I am going to give the speech, and I confirmed that. I was super happy. The moment I received the email, I was so excited. My hands were shaking. I didn't know what to do, and that was like a 1 minute excitement. I was shaking and everything, but then I came to realize that I got to do this now. I have to do this shit right now,
Yeah.
and it was just, I don't know, unreal. And I had to prepare. They have like a deadline where I had to um, send a draft to this dean, and he'll evaluate it. And he just helped me out with a lot of stuff. But I sent my first draft. The topics that I wanted to talk during that in that speech was mainly about friendship, because I value friendship a lot. Second, about kind of related about relationships, and the third one will be obviously bringing awareness about the immigration topic. So I focus my speech on those three things, and I built my first draft. I built my first draft, and I presented that to a couple of my friends, and I just kind of like worked around it, trial and error, and I wasn't unsure about how would this go, and I actually gave one of my trial speeches, if that's the correct word, to Sven, our marketing guy. and um and I was surprised like how he felt like very um touched by it. I was very surprised, and I wanted to work more into that speech, refine it more. But yeah, Sven, why don't you tell us about how you felt about whole that process? Because Sven was actually very present during all that build up process, and I just want to hear his perspective about how he perceived it.
Um, well, it was kind of funny because it was also a funny time in our lives. All because you and your girlfriend were living in the same apartment that I was living in. So we were basically in a studio, four people living in the same place. So it's kind of a messy part since graduated with you. It was kind of funny the fact that you were giving the speech and I was your roommate in that same moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it felt really strange hearing you say the speech the first time because it actually gave me chills, which is really difficult to do. I'm kind of a cold person in certain things. But I felt like you started talking about friendship, and we know each other for 3 years. Maybe for many people it isn't much, but we built a really good relationship out of it. I think like I consider you a brother of mine.
Mm-hmm.
We also shared an apartment for 1 year. Then we shared the studio for like a month, maybe like 3 weeks.
Weeks, yeah.
Um, we've been really good friends, and we still hang out even if we don't live together anymore. And once you were building up this speech, and I could see the stress in your face because you really wanted to do something that was touching and that would leave a message not only for the graduates but for everyone that was in that specific place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you literally read it really, I don't know, it was like out of your heart the first time. I already knew what I was gonna listen in my graduation, but I got chills. And when I told you about it, you didn't believe me, like if it actually gave me chills or not. So I don't know, it was
It
kind of
was
strange.
because as you said, we were roommates for a year, and we know how like if each of us operate, and it was just like it's so unreal that my speech would give someone chills, especially to you, right? It's like, wow, this did I make it? I wanted feedback. You obviously give me some feedback about which parts you didn't feel right, and I completely changed those parts. And that's where, like, not only you but also other people, the dean and everybody was just my girlfriend Melissa was also contributing to that final version, which built up to that final moment, which for me it was crazy. So I don't know. I wanted to see how you feel like a couple moments before I walked up there. What?
So it was there was many speeches, like 5 if I remember properly. Some
Yeah.
of them
Okay.
were like really bad in my honest opinion. Like I was literally begging for that girl to step out of the stage
Oh.
for her own like safety. I don't know. It was kind of strange to it's a graduation. You expect like professionalism
Mhm.
also from the person that's giving the speech.
Mhm.
You don't have to do a you can do a funny speech if you want to, but at least feel comfortable while doing it.
Mhm.
And there were some people that actually were afraid of talking freely and giving their own feelings. I don't know, like it was kind of strange seeing that part of some of the people that gave speeches. Before you went into the stage, um, all the bachelors, we started like screaming your name and trying to cheer you up
Mhm.
because we also know that I've never been in that position, but I'm guessing it's a really extreme position of being in front of so many people that you don't know, so many people that you know. You can screw it up in front of so many people also because it was a live event, so it was being recorded and people from other countries were actually watching that graduation. So we tried to give you like that push that maybe the others didn't have,
Mhm.
like to feel comfortable, like to know that your actual family, not only like blood family, but your friends and the family you built here in California is actually there for you. So I just remember that I started screaming like Eddie, Eddie, and everyone started like screaming and we all got up and started like cheering you up.
Mm.
While we were screaming, you were like looking between pages because you couldn't find
Oh, oh my
your
God.
speech.
Yeah, yeah, so a little behind the scenes on that. Before you guys started screaming, like you guys kind of knew that it was my turn to speak, and I was the last speaker, and I just started hearing Eddie, 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 and I was told that I was supposed to walk out of the curtains after the dean announced my name, like, hey, now your graduation speaker Eddie Chow is gonna talk to you and something like that. But then I just started hearing Eddie, Eddie. I was like, I was so nervous. I was shitting my pants. I was like taking deep breath every time, every minute. I was like, okay, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. But then you guys started screaming. I was like, did I miss the dean's announcement?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Why are they screaming? I was like, okay. I just started walking out, and then when when I was in the middle of the road, the dean started speaking. No, your graduation speaker, it's gonna be Eddie Chow, and actually I couldn't hear the dean. You guys screamed so loud that I couldn't hear anything. And I just started walking. And when I got to the podium, so they're supposed to have my speech printed out, right? In
Yeah.
the carpet there. And not in the folder, my bad. And I was just going through the pages and they were so far behind. I think it was the second speaker's speech that was there. I
Yeah,
was
they
like,
didn't even change like the speaker's notes.
exactly. And I was like, going one page to another, and everybody was just
that
waiting for
that
me.
that moment was so funny because we started screaming like waiting like we were waiting that the moment we stopped screaming you would start your speech, right? We stopped and we just saw you like just going through the pages and we were like, okay, maybe it's a really long speech, and I knew the speech you were gonna give, right? Like I already heard it and I was like, I don't remember the speech being that long. Like why is he like going through pages? And then you started speaking
Mhm.
and you started like with power. You were kind of like you still we could notice a little bit of your you were a little
Nervousness.
yeah, a little bit nervous, but you were much more comfortable than when you started walking to the podium.
Mhm.
Like you could actually tell. But then you started like talking with such a confidence and power, and you wanted to take that moment and it was yours and no one will ever take that moment from you. It was so funny because you finished finished the speech and everyone started screaming Eddie
I was
again,
like,
and I
yeah,
just
yeah,
remember
yeah.
seeing you like cheering and everything, taking then the I will never forget this, taking the mic and saying like, this is for you, mom, I love
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You felt like Drake after his first like big concert,
Mhm.
basically.
Absolutely. It was weird because at the beginning I was super nervous, and so on my speech I was expecting some after I said some stuff like, so I'm Eddie and I'm your graduation speaker. It's an honor to be your speaker. And I wasn't expecting claps or cheers after that, right? So I wasn't expecting that at all. But then everybody started clapping and I was like, what the and I just had my if you guys have seen the video, you'll see like I have some nervous tick like doing some shit like this or thumbs up and
Yeah.
shit like that. I was like, fuck. I rewatched the video and I was like, that was so stupid on my part.
But it was like, if in my honest opinion, like, taking aside that I'm your friend and your roommate and family, is that it was actually like the best speech. And even like my whole family came from different parts of the world to for this graduation, which is like not the biggest family, but they are a lot. And everyone told me like, oh, that Eddie guy, he was like the best out of every speaker that was today. And I was like, yeah, and he's he's my ex roommate. Yeah. Right now we're still living together because we're living basically four people in a studio, which is kind of funny. But they literally told me like, it was impressive how you managed like with your words, because you were speaking like your confidence, we could feel it, and also the words you were saying. And if I got chills in an apartment, just you and I talking, imagine all the other people that are there, they're graduating, you're the last speaker, so they're also excited because they know after like 3 hours of sitting it's finally over. So don't take all the credit. It's also because of the time that we waited. I'm kidding. But it was pretty amazing.
Damn.
And I congratulate you because of that. Like,
My
for
man.
real. It's a moment I will never forget because it's also my graduation. But I think it was better than what you expected. 100% sure. I'm 100% sure.
I'm not sure. I feel like I gave my 90% because there were some parts that I felt
Yeah,
like I
but you've
forgot.
never done it. And
Yeah,
first
true.
of all, second of all, I don't think you expected that reaction from everyone, and you didn't even expect your own like bachelor group of graduates to cheer you up
Yeah,
as they
I
did.
never expected
So
that.
I think in general, even if you say like you could have given 10% more, I think that 90% was the perfect amount you should have. It's your first time doing it, and like there's errors
First
that's
and
gonna
last
happen.
time.
It's like this is our first time doing a podcast, and it may not be perfect, but like I told you today, with practice everything changes. So for your first actual speech, it was better than I expected it. Like, for real.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if you're gonna continue with another topic with Tom, or
I don't know. Let's.
what's the process for this first podcast.
I have no idea. I actually just want the conversation to flow. So a little bit of background about my speech. I talked about relationships and connections and how, we all as international students, we should keep uh, us united, fight through everything. I know that there's a lot of obstacles right now for all the immigrants out there because of the government and everything. But I just want to everybody show some love, show some support, and keep those connections in life together, right?
I think it's really a beautiful message, because that's what we all expect. Like, if you have a friendship, you expect that friendship to last forever, right? Also, a relationship, everyone has certain dreams about that relationship being eternal, right? And I also like the fact that in your speech you always talked about support, like being there for each other. And I can tell that we are that type of people, for our own experiences. Like, I know if I'm doing a project and I need help with something, I can count on you. Like, you can count on me. If I'm doing if you're doing a project, I'm gonna help you. And that's the type of support that many people don't have. So I believe, like, in the moment you said it and you expressed it with such a feeling, and in the environment we were at the time, it was like the perfect way of saying it, to express your own experiences of that unity. Like, how would you describe it? Like,
Unity. I don't know.
support, love in a different shape.
Yeah.
Basically, it's love in a different shape. It's caring. It's caring about the other. It's caring about the well-being of the other. I
Because
think.
the way I picture friendship is not just being like, hey, we laugh and we get drunk, or
Yeah.
we fucked up together. I mean, that's part of it, yeah.
Of course.
But it's also about like growing together, supporting each other,
Yeah.
right? And that was my main inspiration of why I wanted to start this podcast. We wanted to start this podcast between you, me, and Tom. I feel like all these relationships have come together to build up something and create a platform where we can all share that love and support with each other, right?
And I think this is like that's why I like it so much. Like what we're doing is also the fact that it's not only about like sharing and doing that, because of course it's super important, but it's also like talking about your own perceptions about things. What do you think? What have you experienced? What are your worries? And that's also a type of support. Like you can hear what I have in my mind, why I'm worried, what's been happening in my life, why I feel good, and I can share that with you, and you can be there to support me and cheer me up if I'm down, or you can
Mhm.
be there to just tell me like
Listen.
congratulations, or
Mhm.
just listen, or share your own experiences. We have a friend, Arturo. He's a friend. He was my first roommate in the
He'll be in
dorms.
the podcast soon.
Yeah, he will be part of this podcast. He has a lot of, his perception is really different than the others, right?
It's so
It's
so crazy.
super super different.
The way you describe Arturo's perception, I think we're making too much promotion for Arturo. But the way you describe, so I never got Arturo's mind, like the way he thinks. But when you started describing it, I was so amazed by the way he thinks and just perceive everything. It's just a complete different, like he's in a complete different world,
Dimension.
looking at us, and it's like, oh yeah, this is right or wrong.
He's really
Or-
curious. That's the thing.
Mhm.
And what I'm mostly shocked about, like his way of thinking, is that I will never understand completely, like 100%, how his mind works. I understand it to a certain level because I lived with him and he shares to me certain things, and I've learned with him how to understand what he's saying. He's the type of person that we're sitting like right now, and out of the sudden we're talking like right now about this topic, and he's like, "Hey, why is that green?" And you are like in the middle of a conversation and you don't even know what he's talking about. But he was the whole time we're having this conversation, he's listening to you, but at the same time he's looking at this cup, and he's
Mhm.
actually curious, like why did they do a green cup?
Mhm.
But he doesn't give a context. He doesn't. He just put it.
Why is it?
Yeah, literally. That's, and I think that would be that's gonna be a podcast, because we're gonna promote Arturo another day. But I just wanted to take him as an example, because
Mhm.
he has a really different mentality, perception. He lives in another dimension, we can call it.
Mhm.
And I believe that we all do. You see things differently than I do, and I think more into the podcast and in time with seasons, we're gonna be seeing a different approach to things.
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be a really cool
Journey,
program
holy
and
crap,
journey.
yeah.
And it's just starting, so I'm really excited about the journey we're about to start.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tom,
Tom,
please-
you can take my place, Eddie.
this
you're
is
killing-
Sven, our marketing guy.
Stop drinking wine.
Shh.
Tom, please.
Thank you. That is just magical water, nothing else. Hydration. So that's such a wonderful conversation to hear about your graduation and the things that you learned, and how you really emphasize the community.
I want to know how you felt about it. Did you, because so Sven was part of the whole process of that
Building it.
speech, yeah, building it. I want to know, like, how did you feel about it? What at the moment? I think I told you. Yeah, I told you that I was going to be the speaker. Was in one of the meetings that we had.
Yeah.
I wanted to see how you perceived it. Did you feel like it was 100%, 90%? I don't know. I'm super curious about it because I'm so nervous. Sven might have told me that it was, yes, the best speech ever. But for me, I feel a little bit insecure. I feel like, oh, it could be
Right.
better and everything. But how did you feel about it?
How I felt about it. So, it is by far, like, out of all the speeches, I would say it is the most memorable one for me. Well, not only because you're Eddie, but then because your message actually matters. So, like, the part about international, like, the part that I remember the most about the speech was about your connections part, because that's very true. Like, we all come from all around the place, and like typically we only have about 5 years to be able to stay in the US, because that's 4 years of college and then 1 year
1 year of OPT.
1 year of OPT. So like, and then afterwards, because the lottery is extreme, is you have a really low chance of winning the lottery rate. It's you're gonna end up having a lot of people all over the place across the world in the end. So like, maintaining connections is is actually very important, and it is actually something that I should be doing too. Like, in a way that I think, like, the way that we could potentially, like, we can maintain our informations is just by trying to remember who are the people we've met and put them on an Excel spreadsheet or a Google spreadsheet. Just because, like, you have Facebook, right? But then, like, do you actually, is everyone on Facebook actually like somebody like who you like a close friend of yours who you've met? Because sometimes, like, let's be honest, you sometimes add different people on Facebook who are not, who can be your friends, but they're not exactly from this international community that we have. And so, like, having all this just to remember, like, yes, it's about time I should reconnect with this person and catch up. You don't have to be like talk every day, because a lot of times when you're out of college, you're already in a job. People have their own business, and so, like, catching up with them once in a while, being disciplined in the way you want to catch up with people is going to be good. And, like, that's just one of the ideas that spark inside of my mind when you're talking about having friends all over the world. And again, I'm really like, it wasn't like, I was surprised at first when I heard that you were gonna be the speaker, but then, like, I'm proud. I'm like, wow, I lived for a year with the graduation speaker. That's really amazing.
My man.
Yeah. So, like, I know we were kind of distant after the year after we
moved
not
out.
roommates.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
not roommates. We kind of like, we've been on and off in communications, and it's understandable. We've been busy with school projects, just wanted to improve ourselves and everything, and the schedule just gets very tight, or I don't know. We have very little time for kind of like connects with other people, and I don't know. During the graduation ceremony, I felt so much love from everybody. Like, so before the graduation, we had like a pre-graduation celebration where we went to the club. I went with Sven and other couple friends, and we went to a club, and then we met with some people from Holt, and they're like, "Hey Eddie, I voted for you." I was like, "Oh shit, I never asked you to vote for me, but thank you so much." Holy yeah, I was so touched. I was like, thank you for considering me, I was like, I'm gonna give the best it to you. And that was the only thing I've been stressing out, thinking about and preparing for, because I had like a month and a half to prepare it. And for me, a month and a half was so f***ing short, because I was procrastinating a lot. I was thinking that tomorrow I'm gonna do it, the day after tomorrow I'm gonna do it. So I don't know, I felt the energy, that support. And your mom actually, after I came out of the hall and everything, she gave me some flowers, which my mom didn't give me. It was fine. Everybody was just like in preparing, dressing themselves up. But your mom was so lovely, and she gave me like some flowers and everything. Your mom is your parents, your grandma, your mom, they are so lovely, and I fucking love them.
Thank you.
That whole experience, everybody, that whole graduation ceremony was just amazing. My mom was also, so I didn't see it personally. When I walked out of the hall, and that I met with my girlfriend and a couple friends and my mom there, and they were just I just saw my mom's makeup like all ruined and everything, and I was like, what happened? And my girlfriend told me, like, yeah, like my girlfriend told me she was crying during your speech when you step up into the podium and she was crying. I was like, what the you know, my parents, like, I don't know if it's typical of Asian, but at least it's very typical from Asian immigrants in other countries. They don't show any emotions and anything. And when I heard the news that she was crying during my speech, I was so touched. And she even cried more when I said, like, "Hey, I love you, mom." I said after the whole speech, and everybody was cheering for me, and everybody was quiet down. And I was like, "I love you, mom. This is for you." And Melissa told me that, my girlfriend, she told me that she was crying even more, like harder. And I was like, that was, I don't know. I feel so much peace and warmth in my chest, and I that was the moment I was looking for. I wanted my parents to be proud. I wanted everybody to be in that environment where everybody just be happy and loved and supported. And that was just magical. The graduation ceremony was just such a, like, remarkable event that I would love to live over and over again. And that's something I wouldn't change for anything. And that was the main inspiration of this podcast, whole building about relationships, connections, and everything. And it's just about us talking, sharing, connecting. And yeah, I fucking love doing this with you, Sven, any guest that will come in the future. I feel like this is gonna be amazing, and I just want, I don't know, I'm speechless right now.
It'll always be an adventure.
Yeah, and yeah, I think that will be for our first episode. Do you have anything to add in, my dear friend?
Just one of the things that we could learn from your experience is to keep working hard, love your parents,
Always grinding.
appreciate the ones who love you, because you only realize what you have once you've lost it. So, like, it's often something that passes by our minds, something that we take for granted. But, like, give a call to your parents after
Yes.
the podcast.
Mhm.
Tell them you love them. Tell them you love them,
Mm-hmm.
and at least thank them for, like, helping you to be where you're at right now.
And not only my parents, you, Sven, everybody that's in this, supporting and listening to us, and just, and being part of all this journey, we go through. So the reason why we call the podcast seasons is because we believe, like, everybody's just in different seasons, different stages of their lives, and every absolutely fucking body has something to tell, a story to tell, a value to offer to others. And it's just about listening, it's about connecting, it's about empathizing, and just really immersing yourself into others and connecting with others. And I feel like this is gonna be such an amazing project, and I'm so excited for whatever is to come in the future. So yeah, so this is me, Eddie.
And this is Tom. Thank
Yeah.
you for attending our podcast.
And this is Sven, our marketing guy. Yeah.
Thank you guys. See you next time.
Woo! So yeah,
you.
I'll see you next time in our next episode. Peace out.
Peace out.
Aye.